session, we'll cover the key elements of an effective pitch, how to tailor our approach based on our interests and expertise.
Some people were talking about how we will grab the interest of editor, or how will we make a local report, more interesting or look interesting for that editor. I can see the questions here. So ideal time for pitching is if you are internationally published, pitching. So you see generally जो international publications होती है उनका शाम का time हम उनका सुबह होता है हमारा शाम.
Hello everyone. Welcome to today's Zoom training session on the essential tips and tricks for pitching stories effectively. We are thrilled to have you all here. So as we delve into the art of crafting compelling pitches that grab the attention of journalists and editors alike, we are honored to be joined by Safina Nabi. Safina is a seasoned journalist with extensive experience in story pitching, and Safina has worked with leading publications including Guardian, Al Jazeera, Vice, Christian Science Monitor, Nikki Asia, New Humanitarian, and many others. And Safina understands the nuances of what makes a pitch stand out in a crowded inbox. And so her insights will be invaluable as we explore practical strategies to enhance our pitching skills. During this session, we'll cover the key elements of an effective pitch, how to tailor our approach based on our interests and expertise. And she'll also talk about the tips for making our pitch skimmable and engaging so that it captures attention of the editors quickly. So Safina will be also sharing her experiences and interactive exercises to make this training useful for all of us. So we encourage all of you to actively participate and ask questions and also share your experiences. So yeah, this is a great opportunity for all of us to learn from one another and refine our pitching techniques. Thank you for being here today, and let's get started and together learn the art of pitching. Safina, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Alia, for that wonderful introduction. Many things I do not do. Whatever you explain, I try my level best to sort of do what I'm doing, but I am happy to share my learnings, especially the on-ground learnings, with all of you, because together we try to strive and elevate each other. Two things in the initially that I would like to say. One thing is that when I am in between the session, I am sure I'll tend to go fast because that is generally my speed, but just nudge and stop me if you feel that I'm going too fast. Second thing is that that nobody is experienced here. We are all good at something and we learn from each other, and this is something that we're doing together to learn from each other and enhance each other respectively. We are all colleagues, and we would like to learn from each other. And if I say something which you have not come across, or something that you have come across, because I have not been in a newsroom at all, so please share or send it to the chat box. Okay, so we start. Okay, till the time it will reach you because it's loading. We'll just start. I wanted to, since we are a lot of people today, I would want to ask everybody in just 2 words if they can just let us know what is one main thing that they find hard in pitching, or what do you think that today's session, their takeaway should be, just like in a word or 2 words. I'll note down those pointers so that, I sort of tackle them through the session.
Hey, hi, Safina. My cue is that, what interests the editor most? Like, what they specifically see in the pitch?
Interest of
I mean,
editor,
I have been
right?
struggling a lot. I have been struggling a lot when I pitch certain story ideas to various publications. I find it hard to get it accepted at a specific media organization. Either they reject it, or by saying it doesn't fit in their their protocols or whatever they have. So I just want to know, what they specifically
what interests the editor, right?
Yeah, what interests the editor. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Yeah.
Okay, another one. Anything, it should be what what you want to take away, or what is one thing that is hard for you, that you feel that it's hard.
Maybe something they struggle
I
with. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be helpful to know that how do we make international editors take notice of hyper local stories
Ah,
that
okay.
are happening in our own communities,
Hmm.
or within the country, wherever we are reporting from. I think it would be helpful to know that, like, because obviously one like changes the tone when they're pitching to, an Indian editor versus an international editor. But I think it'd be helpful to know that, because sometimes what happens to me when I pitch to international editors, they're like, oh, this is interesting, but this is too niche for us to,
Right.
yeah, follow through. So similarly, in that vein, what could be like, evergreen stories that international editors could look for, that freelancers could always pitch and like, get commissioned for
Hmm.
that.
How to get local reports published in international,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, and also like evergreen stories that could like,
Mm-hmm.
do well internationally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, are you
Okay.
able to see my screen? Yeah. The presentation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Anyone?
Safina,
Quickly, because
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
one
we
word.
hello.
have.
Guys, one word.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Najia,
Yeah,
please
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there must be some sound over here because I'm in a cafe right now. I'm sorry for that.
No problem.
I would like to know how to, yeah, we think of a wide topic and how to get that to a specific point, like a specific story idea. There will be several, in the wide topic, there will be several story ideas, but how to stick to one single story idea
Okay.
when pitching?
You're talking about like one angle that you should focus
Yeah,
on.
story angle. She's talking about story angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the story angle, especially since the topic is divided, one story angle must be intermingling with others also. So, how to
Mm-hmm.
stick to one single one?
Okay, cool.
Safina, maybe you can just start your presentation, and if someone
Yeah, let's just start. I think fair enough pointers. Can we, just zoom in the presentation, Alia? I'll look at that
okay.
only now so that we are at the same
Sure.
page.
No. This is
I think 50% will work with this.
okay. Is it okay?
And then you play it.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's go to the second slide directly. I just have used this quote in
Okay.
order to make everybody feel that we are all important, but it's just the right time and the thing that we work hard for.
True.
So I sort of do not have a blueprint in terms of what works, what does not work. But over the period of time in my 9, 10 years of career, I have always been a freelance journalist. I haven't been into a newsroom. So my understanding, my learning has all come from, ground, and especially from people and from groups who I have reached out time to time, and I was facing issues myself. And then in that process, I learned some bits and here and there. So today I'm going to share them with all of you. And when we talk about these issues, it's not specific to international or national, publications. Maybe here and there a bit, or 90, like 9 on 10. But overall, this is my, sort of a framework that I apply to all my pitching, whether it is international or it's national, or whether I'm making proposals or I'm applying for grants, anything like that. So this is the like foolproof thing that I use as a person while working. So the first thing, that actually we should sort of try and understand that when we are thinking about something and we think of an idea and we think that we have to pitch this idea and we want somebody else to get us noticed and understand our idea so that they can commission the story, right? So in that process, when you're doing something like that, just a second. Yeah, I'm just losing the screen earlier.
Guys, can others see it? I don't know.
You
Okay,
can see the
fine,
screen.
Okay.
fine. I'll open my own so that
You can open your own presentation. Yeah.
Mhm. So basically, understanding pitching, when we say that what we have to, do when we have to pitch an editor, we have to be very specific in terms of like how we will make ourselves or our idea substantiate enough so that the other person gets interested. So when you pitch an idea, you have to not think about that it's your idea, that you're thinking this way, and the editor will think that way. No, it's not like that. So it is more like of selling something. So it's a full on, an activity that is basically a business activity. So you have to think like, because when we talk about journalism, we get lost in so many things like ethics and other things. So here, when you think of an idea, you have to forget about all of that. You have to think that there is another person, and you have to get that person interested to not only take your idea, but pay you for that and pay you fairly, right? And when we say that he has to take your idea, it means that you have to be very, very good at marketing. You have to be a pro to make him understand that this is the best and you cannot get anything better than this. And when I say that, why I say that, because when you are pitching, make it sure that with you there are other not only 10 100 people who are pitching, maybe probably same idea, maybe probably something around the same idea, or maybe probably something from the same region which is more interesting, right? Or which is sort of more aligning towards the publication. So you have to understand that you have to sell something, and for that you have to be pro at marketing. And there is nothing wrong in that. That is one thing that you have to do when you think of an idea after ideation, that you have to sell it to an editor. And your first, and when you draft that pitch, you're drafting that pitch, you have to sort of make it so solid that you are not only giving him an idea, but you are giving him an idea with research, which is full of research, that why is this idea important, what backs this idea up, what are the researches that are available online or that are available, or what are the things that revolve around it. So you have to make it so a solid pitch, so that when he sees your pitch, it lands in his or her inbox and he opens it, his first impression should be that, even if he will ask you questions, that I have to take this idea, or even if he will tell you that you have to improvise, or if he has his questions, he might not understand probably you for fully. Just to give you an example, I was working on a story which was not a migration story at all, and I got a multiple rejections over it, and I was like so confused, why am I getting rejections on this pitch? Why? It's so interesting, it's a first of its kind story, why are not editors trying to understand? And then at a point I thought, okay, I need an editor who has madness like me for this project, that he only will understand or she only will understand, and I'll find that editor. But over the period of time, I stopped pitching. I didn't pitch. Then I sent it to an editor who I regularly work with, because that was my last option. And then he wrote to me a few questions, and he asked me, then, there are so many migration stories. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not a migration story. You have to understand. Probably when you talk about sea, or you talk about water, or you talk about boats, they think that it's migration story, but it's not. So you have to, I mean, I also juggle with it at times. It's like that I do not face such problems. But what we are here trying and understanding, that you have to make an editor understand that the first impression that he should have, the point that I'm trying to make is that he should have this idea that, oh my God, I have to take this idea. So that should be your, so I will reconnect it with again that your research should be strong. Now, why is pitching so important in a way? When we talk about pitching, why is it so important? So here are, in this I will sort of try and understand, we all will understand that 3 pointers when we talk about pitching. we should always give a benefit of doubt to the editor, because for example, if there is an editor and he has his roots or his background is, say, Central Asia, and he is commissioning from South Asia, you always have to give him and you have to be and especially when you are tackling international publications, so you have to give them a benefit of doubt that they do not know your region. They are completely ignorant. You have to think that you are talking to a person who doesn't know what is happening in India, or what is happening for that matter in Uttarakhand or some other region. So you have to be as nuanced, as detailed as you could be. And why is that important? Because he is not somebody who knows the nuances of localities, communities, or who knows the importance of those issues or those regions that you are trying to target or you are trying to report your story with. And when you will be that flexible, you will make them understand with very minute details, then they will, over the period of time, they will trust you, and there will be a relationship that you will build with that editor, and that is very important. That is one of the important aspects that we talk about pitching. There is an editor who I have never worked with, and I mean, I have sent that editor 2 3 pitches, and he said that he really likes my sort of writing style. But how does he know that what is my writing style? I haven't worked with him. I haven't seen him send him any copy ever. What is important is that if he has seen my pitch, it has interested in him, and he has checked my work, maybe probably on Google. That's why he wrote to me that he's liking my style of work, and probably one day he'll work with me. But that is something, the pitch that I was sending or the pitch that I was trying to sell him, it was not sort of something that they were looking for, because there are publications who have their own editorial boards, policies, or themes that they would like to cover for next 1 year, right? And it is decided in meetings and everything. So when you sort of build that relationship with editor, you know how to sort of, and over the period of time you build that relationship, and it sort of not only builds your relationship only, but it also sort of creates your reputation within the organization. It's very important to understand that there are editors who are colleagues, who are friends, who meet occasionally and they talk. And I have sort of seen it many times, that one editor talking about you because he has heard from some other editor, and when he sees you pitching them, and they sort of trying to connect those dots, and it happens, trust me. We might think that there are 8,000 journalists working throughout India, and they are all pitching to, for example, XYZ publication, and how will they sort of remember you. But it is possible that there are especially journalists who have created niche for themselves, who write on different beats and then they pitch to different publications. It's very important to be thorough, be specific. Do not overlap your pitches when you are pitching. You have built that relationship with them, or you have that kind of a credibility and reputation. Now you have to maintain that then, right? So these are some basic pointers that we have to keep in mind while we are especially reporting or sort of trying to sell pitches to international publications. Now there are some things that are very important, and I generally call them do's and don'ts, and I sort of have this kind of a wait a second. I have this checklist that I have with me that I call do's and don'ts. And these do's and don'ts are very important for me. When I send a pitch, I do not send it directly, or I do not sort of write and send it. I have my own kind of a Google Doc that I have created, and I put that pitch into that format. And I make it sure that because these do's and don'ts have helped me when I was somebody in the middle of my career. I was trying to, there were some publications that were my dream publications. I wanted to report for them, but I was not able to crack them. There were so many inhibitions. There were so many ifs and whys and things that I was myself struggling with. And I created this kind of a do's and don'ts thing for me. And what I do is, when I write a pitch, and then I'm sure that this is, the final pitch that will go to editor from my and I do not send it directly. I put it on that doc or on that paper. What I do is that I see if the pitch is small enough, it is not going to take a lot of time of the editor, because there are editors who are really really busy editors, and you have just those 30 or initial 40 seconds that you have to grab their attention. And if you're not able to get that, they are going to forget you, they are not going to read your pitch. So your pitch should be sharp and your pitch should be short. So that is the first don't. And when we write pitches, we all say that we are professional and we are polite, but it is highly important to be polite, because it's you who needs something from them, it's not they that they need something. It's very important to understand this point. We at time, I also used to get evoked by this emotion. I'm giving him such a good idea, it could turn out to be such a big story, or it could turn out to be such a great story, why is he not, why is he going to be ignorant and all of that. But it's not like that. He will get 10 other people doing the same job and maybe probably doing better than what you have done or what you could do. So you have to maintain that tone when you write that. And especially very very important that since editors are really busy, if you have sent you a pitch and he is in the middle of something, or he has just forgotten about it, or his inbox is too full, that your pitch lands on the 30th count. So you follow up. If you do not hear back, and you politely follow up, hey, I had sent an email or an idea, do you have a status available on that, or what do you think about it, something like that. Do not oversell or over exaggerate anything, because if you over exaggerate or oversell anything, Google is available, they are going to get you there. So be very very sure with your numbers, be very sure with your facts, and be truthful like about your research. If there is a story and it has been already covered in 2 places, but you want to cover it for that publication, tell them that it's been covered, but you want to cover it with this angle. The more honest you will be, the more credibility you will get, and the more positive feedback you will get. Do not pitch, because I have seen some of my colleagues, they would reach out to me that how is it that you have you send multiple ideas to an editor in one email, or if he doesn't like one email, one idea, and then you send it in 2 days again, or you send it over the week again, or you send in in one email you send 2 ideas, because any of that. Do not do that, because it is important to understand that in one email, just be sure that you are asking for, or you are selling just one idea, and that too very precise, because if it's going to harm you only, because if you do 2 things, they will there will be double mind. They will see what is important, what is not important, and then at the end of the day they will lose interest, right? And when you get a rejection, especially from an international publications, mostly people, especially my colleagues, my trainers, my mentors, they always tell that do not take it personally. It is not something like that the editor is against you or the publication, but I tell you that take it personally. I will tell you now why. I have put it in don'ts, because do not take it personally. I will tell you the same story, but I would always take it personally. I will tell you one. There was a publication that I was trying to tap 5 years down the line, and it was my dream publication, because that editor was considered to be a very, not a hard nut to crack, but she was very specific. She knew what she was doing, and she was sure that what idea she is taking, and how is it fitting into their editorial policy, and they had one section where they would write why they did this story. So that is very important for them. And I would write my pitch, I would do all kind of research and send it to, and then she would reject. And I was like, there was a point when I was disheartened. I was like, what is happening with me, how will I tap into other markets if I'm not able to convince this one particular subject? And I took this very, very personally. So what I started to do, I started to, the kind of work they were doing and the particular section that she was handling, I started to read that. And I would read that like 2 stories a day, one in the morning and one. It was my sort of a mission to crack that publication. And over the period of time, I understood, when she asks, why should I write this? And I understood all of that. And then I had a story idea, and it also builds you that kind of an understanding and that kind of a capability in your mind when you read that. When you see a story idea, you click quickly that okay, this story will fit into this publication in this kind of a section, right? So I came across a story idea. I sort of did it, and to be honest, when I pitched it, within 20 minutes, I got a positive response from that person, from that editor. And not only from that editor, only when the story turned up, I really got a really good feedback from people, my colleagues, people who I have never, known or I have never interacted with. They also send me messages and all of that. I will sort of try and figure out that story later and send the link probably. But for now, just a second.
Safina, if you don't mind, I would like to add one don't that I
Yeah,
have
especially. Tell me, sure.
experienced a lot while I pitch, which is, guys, please avoid attachments when you see pitches. So that's really not healthy, and that's something which really
Absolutely. There are few publications who ask you specifically for submissions and attachments
that's
if they
different
need it,
if we are following
but
something.
not majorly.
But attaching, for example, your pitch in a document and attaching it via email, it's not workable. So always, copy. You can just write it in a document and then copy paste it in the body of the email, and make sure we are very careful and conscious of the format and the all these fonts, everything we are using. Sometimes I have seen that I have received the forwarded emails from editors from different reporters, and I've seen those copy paste highlighted words. That's a big no, and believe me, that's going to block your as Safina was saying, your connection or network with that editor or a specific
Right.
organization. So yeah, that's something you can consider while pitching.
Very important.
Can we move ahead to next pitch, Safina?
Yeah, we can go to slide number 4. So we were talking about these stories. Now we will see this, what makes a great pitch. This is something that, I told you that I have a doc where I put in my pitches. So it should always have like at least that kind of a tentative or working headline. So it should have that compelling lead that, what will hook an editor. And then you also, some people were talking about how we will grab the interest of editor, or how will we make a local report more interesting or look interesting for that editor so that he takes it for an international publication. So you have to think of a unique angle. For example, if you're talking about a really local story, and it is very important for the region, but it is also important that what kind of an angle that you are giving to the story. You have to see that what are the current international things that are happening. Can you tie it with that? Can you bind it around that? For example, if there is COP going on and there is a story in your region and it is something regarding climate change or environment, and then you see that how will you sort of use this COP and use this local region, bridge the gap with something internationally. For example, if there is a solution story that a person is doing somewhere in Uttarakhand, you say, okay, something like this is happening in Uttarakhand, but this is scalable and we can sort of use it throughout South Asia, or probably we can use it throughout Pacific Asia, and through the background, like currently the COP is going on. So you tie those three things, right? And when you tie those three things, it will give you three benefits. One, that you are going to your local pitch that you're talking about, you are going to tie it with an international publication. You have more chances of getting it accepted. Second thing is that something current is going on that you are tying it with. So there is another chance, another good chance that he will take it, because maybe it will align with the sort of editorial board that they have fixed for the event that is going on. And third thing, when you bridge international, or you scale it up to Asia, or you scale it up to Pacific Asia, then it makes it more, profound, that this is very important, because it is not only they consider Asia or South Asia to be, very precise. They consider it, the very large in terms of area, in terms of population. So it is very important. Asia is very important for a lot of editors internationally. So angles are very important, and then relevance also, like current trends and themes that are going on. I gave examples of if there is a cop or something like that that is going on, but you also have to bring clarity. For example, now you say, okay, a cop is going on, I am working from this region, I want to do this story. Now the editor will be, sort of in this vague thought, okay, cop is going on, she lives somewhere in this very small hamlet, why would I do this story? So you have to create those connections, you have to bridge those gaps. So you don't have to give him sort of you don't have to give him those vague ideas that he will be thinking, what should I do? When you give him an idea, he should be thinking, okay, then this is how, okay, then fine, okay, let's get it right. So that kind of a clarity should be there in your page. Also, it's very, very important to understand what is the audience of international publications. For example, to be very honest, Economic Times is a publication. A lot of people are interested in pitching, or I myself sort of am thinking that at one point of a time I should also sort of report there or report a story for them. But it is very important to understand that what Economic Times editorial policies, what they are sort of covering, what is their main agenda, for example, or what is the international publication which is Economic Times tapping into. If you think of some other maybe probably Business Insider, so you have to understand what are their audiences. Is their audience business? Is their audience environment? So the niche, there are so many niche publications also who cover different topics. Some cover everything that is that overlaps with tech. Some cover everything that overlaps with gender. Some cover everything that overlaps with health. So you have to find that connection, that how will you build that connection in your story and then pitch it to the editor. So very, very important, the audience fit. These are some of the things. Okay, this we can do later, research before pitching and all of that.
Safina,
we also talked a bit, but
yeah, please.
I want to show this exercise.
So before that, there are some questions. I think they are relevant at the moment, which are do we have any 2-3 red flags, which you can talk about that for our that editors see and they right away can reject a pitch. Are there any? Bushra is asking, are there any red flags that editors immediately see and they can reject the pitches?
Could be, I would say. So it also depends on your pitch, how you have drafted your pitch, what kind of a research. For example, some people are really, really fond of data. So if you are putting in some data, it means it's a great fit for them. There are editors who are really, tech geeks, and if they are handling something which is around tech. So I'll tell you, I'll explain this. Ali, I have sent you pitch examples. Go, you can just open it and then we can share it.
Yeah,
so if there is an editor and he is on he's commissioning from a desk where he is and he is clear that his beat or the stories that they cover is an intersection between climate and tech, or climate and gender. So when you pitch him or her a story, when they see your lead, or when they see your first 2-3 sentences, they understand that what you're going to sort of give them. Is it really because that's why they say that your lead and your tentative headline should be so strong that it hooks the editor, so they understand that what you are giving them. That's why it's important that you have to hook them in the first thing. So they will also understand if you read the publication, or if you read the column that the particular person is handling. So they understand it. So there is no blueproof proof for checklist for immediate reactions or whatever. Sometimes editors do not take your pitch even if it's a great pitch. But it is like that. Maybe probably they are not able to see what you are able to see. That's why it's important. And at times your pitch is great, at times, you are pitching it and it's not getting accepted. It doesn't mean that the story doesn't have potential. It just means that it's not the right time for that story. I seriously believe that there is a story that have faced 18 rejections. I have put that also in that pitch examples. After 18 rejections, I got it accepted, and believe me and trust me, for that year it was one of the best stories of my career. It got shortlisted for an award, and it was one of the best paid assignments of that year. So it is not that something is important or something is not, or something works, something doesn't work. There are lots of tricks that editors think about, and there are lots of tricks that we as freelancers think about, but it's all about right timing. At times it happens, at times it doesn't. But it doesn't mean that the story doesn't have potential, or it is not substantiated in a way that you feel that, oh, it's not going to make it. It will make it. Sometimes what happens is that there was a that I sort of was doing, and to be honest, it took me 3 years to do that story because there was no editor interested. And when I got a grant along with it, everybody was interested. So at times, finances also matter, because editors are bound, they have sort of limited funds for a particular theme to connect. There was one granting organization, and they were mad about gender, and then suddenly their funders said, okay, now we want to tap in environment, and they got crazy for environment. So the dynamics of the evolving atmosphere or evolving things around us also matters. Alia, there's a pitching sheet that I have shared it with you. There are some pitches that I have put on.
Is that you sent it
On your email? It's a dog because it was not able to on
Huh.
Okay.
No?
Yes, I want you, some of you to read example 1 and some of you to read example 2, and then, we can sort of have a discussion. What is the pitch about? What beats does?
God, this is a long pitch, no? How many words? कम से कम 800 से ज़्यादा होगा, no?
It's not full. Example 1 इसमें.
अच्छा, yeah, this is example 2, right? Yeah, this is it.
Is everybody able to see the doc and able to read?
Yeah, it's possible to read.
Okay. Okay, it is a 3 minute pitch, so you people can read in 3 to 4 minutes, then we have a discussion about it.
I see it as a solutions journalism piece, like other than like all this food, livelihoods, community, indigenous methods,
Right.
climate.
Right.
It's really a solutions journalism story.
Right.
And yeah, I'm reading through the original story. I found the link, so I'm reading the original story right now.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact that it removes all barriers. Like it's so humane in its tone. It's foreigner, secluded mountain, and is trying to help local people around. So it just one of those stories that really breaks barriers and builds bridges amongst people, and shows you can just make any place your home if you have an open heart and an open mind.
Right.
Yeah. So it looks nice for both sides. On the locals, like it shows that how open they are in terms of receiving that information from this foreigner. And on the foreigner side, like just goes to show how sweet of him, how helpful and kind of him to kind of offer his expertise and go into this remote area. So it's a win-win situation. Shows both sides in very good light.
Guys, when I was writing this pitch, somebody can now a few people can go to pitch example 2, and we discuss that till the time I answer this. So apart from being few of the beats that you all people explained, what I personally felt about the story, that it was not only about so a little background. So this publication was something that I really wanted to get into, and food writing is not something that I was fond of, or probably it's not my niche. Like I cannot do it. So what And how I thought out about this pitch is that it took me a lot of time. It took me almost a month, to think through what are the elements that I wanted to put in the pitch. When I first drafted the pitch, it was around 800 words because it was more of a story. And I wanted to understand myself that why should I take this story if somebody would tell me? Why should I get interested if somebody would tell me? Or when I visited the factory, or when I sat with the person and we were discussing, and then I was sort of understanding that what are the pointers that I would include in the pitch. And when I sort of wanted to break into this publication, it also took a lot of reading. And I was luckily part of another group, a journalists group, freelance journalists group, and some people were writing there, for this publication. And I literally started reading those writers. And I understood, how they pitched, what are the elements, they are putting into some particular story that they have done from their own region. And that is how it helped me. So I didn't think it through from a perspective of food. I didn't think it through from the perspective of business, or so what I actually highlighted in the pitch is how somebody leaving his own place where he was born and brought up, learned some a life skill there, came to this place for tourism purpose, got so much involved with those people who we also do not know much about. Like, we Gujars and Bakarwas are part of our community, so we do not know much about them. We know bits and bits, like they travel, they graze, they're with their sheep, and they graze them here and there, and all of that. So their lifestyle, and this is something, the mushroom or the cheese that they make, it's something which is like not possible, to do everywhere. Like, I cannot do it as a Kashmiri, or somebody else, or my mother cannot do it. So it's a skill that is inbuilt in them. They pass it from mother, passes to daughter, to their children, and so on and so forth. So I sort of highlighted that element in that, which was my sort of, how will I do this pitch. Anybody else on other pitches? This was for the very first time I said I don't want to take pictures on my own, because I was so compelled to take my own pictures. And luckily they came out well, because I had taken 100 pictures.
Wow.
Second pitch, anybody thoughts?
This I don't remember. Where was it published, Safina?
Christian Science Monitor. I'll give the link also.
Okay. This must be old, no?
Not really that old, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
2-3 years before.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I know. This wheelchair bound. I think this was on OZ, if I'm not wrong. No.
No, this was again on Christian Science Monitor. So the last pitch, guys, that I'm talking about, I got 18 rejections.
Wow.
I am somebody who wants to talk about her fallouts really openly, because I want everybody to feel okay. It's okay if we are getting rejections, doesn't matter, or it's okay. Somebody will have that kind of a craziness or madness in them like us, so they will take the idea.
Yeah. I think getting rejections is the most normal thing over getting acceptances.
Right.
Was it the hip hop story that received the rejections, or was it the cheesemaker story?
No, cheesemaker didn't receive any rejection. It was like first time for the first publication, the first.
Wheelchair bound. The third one.
Okay, this story received 18 rejections.
Yeah.
Is there a fourth pitch also, Alia?
No, not
Yes.
yet.
Where there is this man is breaking taboos, right?
But इस पे लिखा नहीं था, like I couldn't see anywhere written this example 4, so I thought it's
okay. The last one where there is this tentative headline, yeah,
can't duplicate.
So the last pitch, guys, it received 18 rejections, and I finally got it published. And In that year, it was one of the best paid assignments, and it was also shortlisted for.
It was on Guardian, if I'm not.
No, it was then shortlisted for. So something similar was on Guardian, but this was for another story that we did for Reasons to Be, because this was about the first link that I shared. So we can go to questions.
Yeah, I
You
think
people can tell me or ask me something. Tell me what are your learnings, if you have any important point that you would want to share with me or with all of us.
yeah, Lisha, go ahead.
Hi, all. Actually, I had three questions. Like
Yes.
I've been pitching for a year, and these are some of the doubts that I've had. So first one is multiple pitching. So it's not like in one email you pitch multiple ideas. It's more about like if I pitch one to one
One
publication.
idea to different editors?
Yeah, and is it ethical? And second thing, if it's not, should I, how long should I wait to pitch from one publication to the next? You know?
It is a lot of people say that we should do blind pitching. With some pitches, we can take that leniency and we do blind pitching. But if there is something which is in happening, or if there is a new event that you are tying something with that event, then you should not do it. You should send it to one editor. You should wait a few days, but you should also reflect in your pitch that it's a time sensitive pitch, and you should follow up in 3-4 days. If the editor is not getting back in next 2 days, just move on to another publication, because it is a time sensitive pitch. But if there is something which is evergreen and you are tying it up with a new event or trend, again you can ask for quick feedbacks, but not like blind pitching. But if there is an idea that is getting rejections and all of that, you can take that. Generally people say do not do that, but as I am telling you something honestly from my end that I have been doing, I do at times I do blind pitching. And if and it has never happened that two editors have got back to me, only one has got back to me. But if at times two editors get back to you, the first one that gets back to you, just go with him, and then give some professional solid reason to another person that why are you not taking it up. It depends publication to publication, because I'll give an example. I once had pitched one idea blindly. There were two editors who got back to me. One got a week earlier and one got a week after. Although the second publication was paying me more, but the first publication was my dream publication. And apart from that, that editor was really good at editing. So I choose dream publication and editing over the more money. And I told that editor that, since you were not getting back to me, it was 3 weeks that I waited. I had already pitched it to another editor and already, drafted the story. And he understood and he said, okay. But it also depends, time is really important. So you can take a leap of faith with some pitches, but not with every pitch.
Okay. The second one is about the timing itself. If I have a story that I want to be published by March, so how early should I pitch? Like, can I pitch it now
I
or
think a
should
month
I?
before. I think
Okay.
if it is an event story, for example, if there is a Women's Day coming out in March and you want to pitch it, so you should start doing somewhere in mid-February. That's what I ideally do, because for events, publications tend to sort of build their content or build the stories much time before. So at times they also send out pitch calls, or they send out to these emails to journalists who are already working with them that we are having this event coming up, so and so we are looking for these themes. So you should ideally do. But if there is for example, if there is something that you want to do in March, then sort of you are thinking about the story and it's an evergreen story, so you can start sort of pitching it the way you think or the moment you are ready. But for events, yes, I think 15-20 days before, or probably more than that, because editorial policy defines these things a month before.
Oh, okay. And my third one is like the final one is mostly about, do you have a pitching routine? Like in a week, I'll send 5 pitches or 10 pitches. Is there something like that?
I'm not aggressively working in pitching right now because I am on a break. I had a baby recently, but
Okay.
when I was, on in freelancing and working, I would make sure that I have 2 to 3 stories every month. If it would go less than that, I would go crazy. But I would not suggest for you all to do that because nothing is less and nothing is more. It is the pace, it is the pace of the organization, it is the pace of publishing, editing, all of those things matter. So I would say that you sort of it depends on your capability. How many stories can you do a month? I can do every, because my writing style is different. I do gender and its intersection, and I do something in depth. So I would say I would take 1 week to 10 days. But उसका जो प्री रिपोर्टिंग रिसर्च है वो ऑलरेडी हुआ होगा.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a time sensitive story, I can just do it in 2 to 3 days. But I cannot do that. I cannot do 800 word story same day repeatedly. That is not something that I can do. Like a lot of people criticize for that. They say that you do not know the pressure of daily deadlines and all of that. I understand and respect that, but that is not something that is meant for everybody, not at least for me. So this is something that you decide yourself. What is your capability to do of
Okay.
doing work weekly?
So, Safina, sorry to interrupt you. So, there are some questions. I'll just quickly go through them, which is, do we have
Alia has the pitching sheet. She can send it to everybody. You are all fine with it. You can take it.
email?
Or if you want some other you have seen some other story, you want that successful pitch, or if it's a recent story, I can do it. But if it's like 4 saal purana, I can't pull that much of an emails. But I can definitely share whatever is possible or whatever is available with me.
So the questions are like, what is the ideal hour for sending pitches and how to ensure compensation? So yeah, Safina,
Okay, it depends. I can see the questions here. So ideal time for pitching is if you are internationally published, pitching. So you see generally जो international publications होती है उनका शाम का टाइम हम उनका सुबह होता है, हमारा शाम होता है. तो मैं वो ध्यान रखती हूँ और वो बहुत जरूरी है वो ध्यान रखना. और उनकी संडे होती है और हमारी मंडे होती है. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दिस. क्योंकि कुछ एडिटर्स ये कहते हैं कि हमारे पास संडे जी मेल आते हैं, वो मतलब मेल बॉक्स फुल हो जाता है. इंटरनेशनल एडिटर्स कहते हैं क्योंकि जो हमारी संडे होती है वो उनकी सैटरडे होती है. हम उनसे एक दिन अहेड है. सो वेन एवर यू आर पिचिंग, यू आर ट्राइंग टू सेंड पिचेस, उस आपको थोड़ा सा वो ध्यान करना पड़ेगा. अपने डेस्कटॉप या लैपटॉप पे डिफरेंट टाइम जोन्स रखो. फिर देखो कि एडिटर का पब्लिकेशन क्या है, वो किस टाइम, संडे मॉर्निंग, ट्यूसडे भी भेज सकते हो, और कभी कभी वेंसडे भी. बट उससे ज्यादा मैं प्रेफर नहीं करती हूँ. मतलब मैक्सिमम इज वेंसडे. बट हाँ, अगर कुछ इवेंट हुआ है और आपके पास एक स्टोरी आइडिया है, फॉर एग्जांपल अभी फार्मर्स प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा था, वो रिवाइव कर रहे थे प्रोटेस्ट फिर से, तो उस टाइम पे आप फ्री मतलब भेज सकते हो. तो थर्सडे.
Safina, are you there? So there is another question of compensation, right? Can you hear? How to ensure fair compensation? So maybe I can answer this, which is there is.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Safina, go ahead and tell us about the fair compensation thing.
हाँ, you can take it, Alia. Go ahead.
You can just add to what I think, which is there's nothing called fair compensation. I mean, as Safina was saying, editors do know whether you are a newbie or you are someone experienced, so you really cannot take them for a toss. So I think if your story is good enough where you can sort of negotiate, then it's fine. But generally, there are publications now who have kept a certain, specific rates for some article or types of articles. So, but I don't think so internationally. That's my experience, that they pay you low because you're a newbie or something. But yeah, in my experience, they do give travel to people generally who have a fair experience or, have a good body of work. But yeah, there are always exceptions, and Safina can agree or disagree with me.
No, completely agree. To be honest, internationally, there are a few publications who have started doing this. Like they do pay a few journalists who are working with them regularly. They pay them a little more, and somebody who is new to them, they either reject them, they like that, they take it, and they pay them a little less. But it also depends on the level of experience you have. And it also depends on your negotiation level. For example, I would always negotiate on rates, especially if I am going for the field reporting, if I'm going on ground reporting, and if I have a grant already for a project, for example, from any of the granting organizations, I also make it sure that the publication pays me fairly, because granting organizations do not cover your time, they do not cover your energy and all of the things that you are putting into the story. So they just travel equipment, food and everything, but your travel, your time and the way you work, it also needs to be compensated. And I make it sure that the organization that I'm giving the final story to, they pay me fairly. And at times they also tell you, oh, you have a grant, we can give you this bit, or if there are collaborators, what is the compensation, how will it be distributed? I say that, for example, if you're giving me $200, my co-collaborator or co-writer should also get $200. There is nothing like you pay me 200 and 100 to that other. And if that person is new, or is like, so they tend, there are few things that I have personally experienced, and I'm sharing from that experience. But nationally, you have to negotiate a lot because national editors are like, they pull every string and every vein of the journalist, to bring best but to pay less. So I would say always look for good publications first initially. If you are not getting success there, then turn towards national publications.
And there's also a question from Rabia from Pakistan, which is like where she has faced rejection in the past, and then the same story was commissioned to a different journalist. So she's asking like how to negotiate or navigate.
This happens a lot that so there was a problem with one of the international publications also, and it was also discussed in one of the groups. It happens at times that you pitch a story, and the commissioning editor either gives it to the another freelancer, or they give it to their staff members. So what I have, and it has happened with me with 3 stories. So what I sure that I withhold a lot of information in the email, or I do not give everything in the pitch. So I withhold some information, which is which I keep, and then I make editor, I ask for more, and then I make it a point, and I keep the conversation. And if he will not at least if he will not assign me the assignment, he will not pass it on. So I have my own. There are a few editors who were doing certain things, and initially, not initially, that I would not generally work with such kind of an editor, because they are themselves playing with the ethics. What will they teach us? For example, we also learn from them when they are editing. But if the publication is important for me, I cannot change the editor. So what I do is I withhold a lot of information so that I have a full on conversation available. And if anything happens, that I go back to him. And second thing is that if something like this happens, I make it sure that I do not pitch to the publication, because I have 10 editors to pitch to. Doesn't matter to me. It's just that I might get a less compensated, but most of the times what has happened is I get more compensation, or I get paid more than that publication would pay, but I would like leave working with the publication.
I think, Safina, also we should be very careful in giving the entire details of sources. Sometimes if we are like,
absolutely,
we are pitching,
that's what I said, that withholding information.
Yeah, we do not have to, if we are working with a new editor, in the first email of pitch that we are sending, we do not have to exactly write that, for example, this is my source A at this location, and giving the exact, entry into your, way of telling.
But Alia, you know what? I was recently having a conversation with one of the journalist colleagues, and she was like, the editor has sent a pitching guideline, that this is the pitching guideline that I would like to have my pitches within. And then he has specifically in that mentioned, give me 2 to 3 sources that you're going to talk to. And then she said that, what happened? once I pitched three, and then she said that I pitched 2 to 3 ideas, and then I saw them publishing, but I saw their freelancers or their stringers doing the work, and I was like this is the problem, because if he's asking details and if he's asking your sources, which means that there is something, he is cunning. So either you call him out or you withhold initially some information, you
I
call
think
him out.
this calling out, other than what you said, calling out those editors is something which is our moral responsibility as journalists. We should not be saying,
Absolutely, because
yeah, this is
we
very
are not going to lose anything at the end. Probably we'll lose one publication, one editor, but that editor is not going to be there forever. He will move or she will move, and the publication will have doors open for you. But somewhere down the line, when you are having certain kind of an experience, maybe probably with newbies we cannot expect, but if you are having some kind of an experience and you have faced certain things, then I think it needs to be called out.
Yeah, absolutely.
National editors, I do not have much experience to work with. I have just worked with very few, editors, and they are very dear editors. I do not have any bad experience with them, but I, hear a lot of my colleagues, friends, mentioning this, that how national editors work, what are their policies, and how problematic they are. But it is the murky field of, I would say editors that we have to juggle with every day, and everybody has to figure out his own or her own way of navigating through this. It depends on person to person, it depends on beat to beat, it depends on idea to idea. So there is no foolproof, or I would say a full bang on answer to that, but you have to navigate it. Probably if you are stuck, you can reach out to your colleague, reach out to us, we will tell you what to do, what not to do. At times, you are so invested in the story and it's so dear to you that you feel like, what should we do, and you do not have any answer, so you can ask for help. All so we are in that era now where we can ask for help. For example, 6 years, 8 years down the line, there was nobody that I could ask help for. Maybe probably there would be people, but I was so hesitant to ask them. But we are so open now, there is social media, we're all there, so you can reach out to people who you trust and ask for such suggestions, and I think it should be okay.
Yeah. And also, if you can see this question by Sama, which is, is it okay for you to be...
That's the trick.
I have a question. I just want to elaborate on my question, Safina.
Right.
So, for example, the cheese article that you did, I was like, oh my God, this is so familiar. Where have I seen it? And I realized that I have shared this 6 years ago. On Khush
So see,
Khabar.
that is the trick. I didn't came to know Xandy on my own. I saw somebody doing a story in a local paper, right? And
my question is
they
that
shared
okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Of course, it should be okay. And until and unless you are giving it a new angle, you are giving it some sort of an international edge, it should be okay. If it should not have been okay, the editor would have Googled and he would have known, or they would have got to know there is a similar story. But what makes it different, because they had done something around, how they make cheese, and why is cheese important and all of that. But they had not tapped in, like somebody came from Dutch. And somebody came from England, a Dutch person who is living here, and then how he mixed up with local, especially with that community which is not accessible to everybody, not even to us, right?
True.
And then how he managed to get those Gujar girls to work in his factory, because Gujar people are very, very protective about their women. They don't allow them to go out, right, to work. And then how he learned the language, like he knows Kashmiri, he knows Hindi, he knows Urdu, all of that, just to
yes,
so all those things that I packed it up with.
Okay, and just feeding on to that, Safina, the second question I have is sources. How do you build sources? Like, how do you know what is happening where in the valley? Because you can't be present everywhere at the right time to know what is happening. So do you have like a team of people that kind of get back to you, like they keep a watch for you or something?
No, not at all. What I do is, like, I read a lot about different things, and I also tend to do on my own research. For example, even if I'm going on a picnic, I'm always looking for people, talking to them. And my husband is pissed off with me. He says that you are ruining your trip, you are ruining your picnic, you are ruining your travel. but that's how journalists are customized with. Like we tend to see stories everywhere, right? So that
Yes.
has been my, that has been my way of working. Even if I'm going out today and we go out for a coffee, I will ask the guy who is serving me coffee 10 questions. Would be why हम यहाँ coffee enjoy करने आए हैं. Please do not interact that much with people. So yeah, it also depends people to people. Some people, read a lot of local. What I do is personally is that I do all of the reading from local papers. I make it sure that at least I read one paper, and I also what I do is I know different areas because I have lived here and I have traveled to them. At times, what I do is I call up people. Hey, hello, how are you doing? क्या हाल चाल है? वो ये सब कुछ नया तो नहीं हो रहा है तो आप लोगों के
Yeah.
एरिया में. So I did a story about construction of dams. So there was this one person who I had met in a Somo while traveling. So I took his because he was from his number. I said, कभी मैं आपको फोन करूंगी जब मैं किश्तवाड़ आऊंगी. So मैंने उसको पाकिस्तानी डेलीगेशन आ रहा था किश्तवाड़. मैंने उसको फोन किया. उसने कहा, मैडम जो ये दिखा रहे हैं वो सब झूठ है. आप देखो, ये हमारा पैसा खा रहे हैं और ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो मैंने थोड़ा सा रिसर्च किया, उधर इधर किया. तो मैं प्री रिपोर्टिंग पे निकल गई. मैं सुबह सोमो में बैठ के चली गई. एंड पीपल वे लाइक ये शाम तक वापस आएगी. 4 days और एक पूरा दिन में पैक करके गई. फिर मैं उस गांव में रही. फिर जब मैं वापस आई तब मैंने ग्रांट के लिए अप्लाई किया अंडर पॉइंट. एंड फिर मैंने वो स्टोरीज पब्लिश कराई. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन, मतलब it is a crazy way of working and it is not like how you work always, but at times I work like.
Thank you, Safina. Just a big thank you to you for being so generous with your knowledge and experience and expertise. It's very rare to see that someone being so open. So we truly appreciate this, really, from the deepest bottom of our heart, really. Thank you. Thank you.
Nothing is hidden nowadays. Probably you will get things online. Maybe it will take you a bit of a research and all of that, but you will get to know things. It's always, really heartwarming that you share whatever it is. And I openly share things. And I have also shared presentation and also the pitching doc with Alia. She can send it across to all of you. And if you need anything else other than that, you can ask me. I can, whatever is possible and is available, I can send it across. Not a problem.
Super. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Hi, Safina. I would like to ask you a question. Like, being a female, how do you navigate, like, while talking to your sources? Because, like, when you are in the field, a lot of people, like, they don't talk to you. Yeah, you see that there is some sort of, like, they are they are not able to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you either because you are a female. There is this notion that females are, which is very like females are not like fit for this field and all. So how do you navigate through this?
To be honest, I initially have faced it. Magar, with time, I have used my gender in my own stride, and I have, I have literally gone up with this. क्योंकि मैंने क्या काम किया, मैंने मर्दों से बात करना बंद कर दिया. मैंने औरतों से बात करना स्टार्ट किया. तो जब एक औरत के साथ बात करती है तो दे टेंड टू बी मोर जेनरस. वो बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन दे देते हैं, शेयर करते हैं. दैट्स हाउ आई लिटरली बिल्ड अप माय सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टोरीज. और मैंने वो जानबूझ के किया क्योंकि मर्द हमेशा मतलब यही कहते थे कि जो आपने बोला, एंड स्पेशली इन द रीजन दैट वी लिव इन वी डू फेस इट. बट यू डू नॉट हैव टू बी डिसहार्टन्ड. व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, यू हैव टू यूज योर जेंडर फॉर योर ओन बेनिफिट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक स्टोरी मैं कर रही थी जहाँ पे अगर मैं मर्दों के साथ बात करती तो वो कभी नहीं बोलते, या वो बोलते कि एम्स कैशवन दलील वन ऑल ऑफ दैट, बिकॉज इट इज रिलेटेड टू सिक्योरिटी एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो फिर मैंने उनके घर में औरतों से बात की, और फिर एक टाइम ऐसा आया कि उनकी औरतों ने ही बोला कि नहीं, अब आप किसके साथ बात करोगे. So you have to sort of play smart, I would say, and it will not happen instantly. I assure you, it will happen with time. You will understand the nuances of it, and you will grapple with the situation. You do not have to worry about it.
Hello, I would like to add on to this. I did my first ever story, and when I got into the factory, there were only men there. So they kept giving me looks. Why is she here? Why is she taking pictures? And when I asked them about several questions about certain political aspects, like the second pitch, I believe, the MC Kashmir one, how do you deal with it and how do you get the information out of them regarding to certain political aspects that they're afraid to, touch, they're afraid to answer the questions they are afraid to answer, and how do you as a journalist write this without being so explicit, without getting on the wrong side of the authorities, and at the same time conveying to the readers, to the audience, what they need, what needs to be conveyed, or what side of truth, or uh, the ground reality basically that they need to be familiar with.
So when I was doing this story, to be honest, I had fair amount of experience, and I was like a bit people knew me, especially people in the field or people associated with the field. When I am doing such kind of a story where like I would openly say that Fahim was one of my sources, and he was very reluctant to speak to me. And I used another friend who, who was his friend. So I used a common thread to connect, and I assured him that I will not reveal the name, and I'm revealing it here. Please do not, reveal it anywhere else. So, and if you see the final article, I have pictures also, and all of the pictures I have clicked. I made them sure that there would be no one else except me who would know, and I have to prove to my editor there are real people that who I will be speaking to. So I shared recordings with them. I didn't share anything else. So I used common friends to speak to them, and when I spoke to them, I made them comfortable. I made them sure it was not done in a single sitting. I did multiple sittings with them, and I told them that I will not share their real names. I will not reveal anything that will sort of come back to them. And then about the true side of the story, see, that's why I'm a freelancer. I am not bound by any editorial policy. When I pitched this story, I was very clear what I have to tell to the editor, to the readers, and what I have to sort of highlight. So I was sure about that. And when I pitched to the editor, I was sure which editor I have to pitch this article to. And I was sure that they will not sort of cut my story down, or they will not fiddle with the words, or they will not change my words. So I was sure about that. So you get that understanding with time that which organization publishes what, and you tailor your pitches according to that. So I think that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No problem.
I think Safina, another question is about few international publications. I don't know because I don't know who is asking Nisha where newbies can pitch. I mean, who are more accepting or has a flexible editorial guideline. Safina, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, of course, there are no sort of, so there is no newbie of any experience, that kind of a thing in pitching when you are pitching. And there is no publication that, sees your pitch and says that you are a newbie. What is important is that what you are pitching and with what angle, with what kind of research that you are pitching the editor. And all of the editorial information, editors' details are always online available. And when you are pitching to editor, you have to make sure that your pitch is relevant to the publication, and it is sort of crisp, the way we discussed in the first two slides, that what pitch, how you should draft your pitch, what kind of elements that your pitch requires. It should, if it's according to that, I am sure that they will take it. And you have to be unique. I mean, you cannot tell them that air pollution is happening in India. Everybody knows air pollution is happening in India. You have to sort of, cross connect it with some community, and then use that community, and then say that because of this, they are getting impacted with air pollution. Because of this problem is happening, or this is what happened with them, and this is the solution that they came up with. So I think it should be fine.
Yeah, if we do not have any other questions, maybe we can wrap up, because I know.
Yeah, we were just 1 hour for this, and we are 26 minutes
above. We'll be having a lot more questions, because expecting that in a single training session like this will sort of cover everything, that's not humanly possible.
There was one another exercise that I wanted to do that, but then it was more important to take all of the questions and clear the doubts rather than the exercise. We can do it next time, any day. But I hope I am able to sort of give information or sort of clear people's inhibitions or thoughts and give them encouragement at least to pitch to international editors.
And yeah, one of the beauty of our network is that, with different experience and skills, we are out there. For those of you who do not know, we have we have two WhatsApp groups, which is one is international, where we have journalists from all the global South countries, and another one is local Kashmir one, where that's specifically only for the local group. So you guys can be a part of the first or the second one or the both, whatever suits you, and then you can ask questions in the in the WhatsApp group, have your queries. That's what we have been doing. And we do ask questions about sources or stories, because it's an ongoing process. It can't be happen in a single session. So yeah, let's keep this conversation going on. And yeah, really, Safina, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, everyone. I am happy because I am doing this like after a long time, and I feel so happy to see everybody, connect with them, give them something that I have I have gained from my own experiences, and I feel really blessed that I got this opportunity to at least talk to them and give them some kind of an idea, and I hope they will use them and it will benefit them.
Thank you so much, everyone, and really look forward.
Excuse me, Alia, am I audible?
Yeah, Nisha, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello, wonderful session. Thank you so much. I just wanted to know, how can we be a part of that group that you were speaking earlier?
I'll send. Most of us are already a part of the group, but I, by the end of the day today or maybe tomorrow, I'll send an email, like ask only those people like I have added who really are willing to sort of engage. So yeah, I'll send you an email and then we can connect you.
Also, can you send?
Also, Alia, one thing I wanted to tell everybody that there is my email ID on the first slide of the presentation, and I am also on Instagram or anywhere, or my website is there. If you feel like anytime that you have to get back to me with anything, any question, any queries, or you want to sort of have a discussion, just want to speak to, so you can reach out. That's not a problem at all, especially the younger ones who feel like how to navigate the terrain of journalism, being a female journalist.
Yeah.
Okay, actually this was my question. Thank you so much, Safina and Alia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, all of you.
Subscribe for more content.